Okay, so I will quickly go back to my quick introduction. I will just say, so my name is Emily. I'm the graduate manager for scholarships and awards. And Dr. Deena Salem, from the interim director of the Center for Teaching and Learning, is with me here today.
Second time right in a row.
Second time right in a row. There you go. And so she's with me here today. She is going to be doing this teaching assistant workshop with you guys. It is kind of a wet your whistle situation, just to get you interested and to learning what it's about. If you are offered a graduate teaching assistantship through FGSR, you will be required to take, we call it GTEC, it's a graduate teaching enhancement course. And it is being offered, it's offered twice in a semester. If you are given a GTA and it's your first time, we will automatically register you for it. Then you just need to come spend a morning with Deena, which is a joy.
Not only Deena, we are three people. So
3 people, okay, look at that. Even more people for you to enjoy then. And then you do some assignments, and that gets you the mandatory requirement, so you can continue to have a GTA through the rest of your graduate teaching assistant, your graduate time with us, sorry. So if you are just looking to be a TA for your faculty though, this is a great way to start. Learning some more about what it means to be a TA. The Graduate Teaching and Learning Center also has other resources and other courses that they're happy to offer for you. Also, if you are just a regular TA, you can also come to GTEC. We have an open session. So the mandatory session for people that get a GTA is being offered on October 8th. And the open session for anyone, which you can register in right now, is open for October the 16th. It is actually just available in your self-service if you want to register. After you've gone through this presentation and think, hey, this is more, I want to learn more about this, you can just go and register for that.
Emily, can I add something here?
You can.
Nothing of what we're talking about today is going to repeat it in GTEC, just to make sure that you are not, okay, I heard it all. So what I'm discussing with you today has nothing to do with what's you're gonna hear on the 8th and 16th of October.
Perfect. All right, so that's my spiel and my plug for GTEC. I'm going to turn over to Dr. Salem and leave with you guys today. I will send an email to everybody that has attended this session with a link to where the video will be for this session. So that'll all be handled for you guys. It'll also be probably a link for all the other videos that we have available as well. So, all right, I'll turn it over.
Thank you very much. So let me share my screen. Okay, this one. Okay, let's start. So as Emily mentioned, I'm Deena Salem. I'm the I'm education developer and interim director of the Center for Teaching and Learning. I acquired this position for the last 2 months, 1st of July. But I was always the one involved in the teaching assistants training and workshop. It's my pleasure to be with you here. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge my presence and our presence on the University of Regina and situated on the territories of Nihayuk, Anishinaabe, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, and the homeland of Métis Nations. The University of Regina is on Treaty 4 lands with a presence in Treaty 6. So what I'm gonna do here today is something that you can take with you in when you're teaching. I'm trying to implement some active learning practices that would help you in your classes. The first thing to do today, because I want to know who is in the room with me or on Zoom with me. So I mentioned already myself, and this is a very important piece of when you start teaching, people have to know who you are, who is there, and why they are listening to them, basically. So I'm Deena Salem. As I told you, I graduated as an engineer a while ago, and I have my master's and PhD in engineering, microwave engineering, if there are any engineers in the room, so they will know that this is one of the scariest disciplines, but it was good. And after that, I changed. I decided to take a different route, a parallel route actually, to be a education developer, which it started with me as having my bachelor's and master's from Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, and now I'm currently doing my PhD in Salton in University of Saskatchewan. So I know how you feel, I know how the research goes, and how the work, your work responsibilities sometimes conflict with your research and study. So this is how I introduce myself. I'm going to share with you a Mentimeter, most probably. Okay, I think I should be looking this way. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I should be doing this. Okay, I'll do it later. I'm going to share with you. I want you to use your phone, or if you know Mentimeter, go to give your responses. I'm going to play the presentation, the slides for some questions, just to know who is in the room. So if you can capture what's on the screen, this would be perfect. The QR code or the code. Were you able to access it? Anybody?
Yes, it's working, the link.
It's not, you can see it, but not working. Okay, so I'll show, can you see this now? Yes, okay. 4 people responded. That's perfect. I'm expecting more. Come on. If you don't know how to use it, that's okay. We can still, I can still wait a bit, but I think one of the things I need to do here is to switch my presentation. Okay. Where is the rest? We have about 10 people in the room. Where are the rest? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to move to the next question. Last choice. Can you see my screen? Can you see my questions? Okay, I can see that 5 people responded to the first question. It's not shared with Zoom. Can you see the second question, please? I would like you to confirm or not. You can see or not.
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I would hope that you would answer the questions just to make sure that perfect. Oh, that's good. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna see the second question. Now I would like, because we're gonna talk about this stuff in a minute. When you think about good teaching, what are the words that come to your mind? So what do you think are the things that identify a good teacher or a good teaching strategies or a person? If you can just write some words, few words, I think I give you the opportunity to have 4 or 5 words. So if you can add a couple, this would be perfect to get an understanding who is we are talking to. Okay, I can see. Okay, so you can only see. You can see the Mentimeter slide. I made sure. Okay, Christian, can you please reply to this question, because this is important to me. No, Aisha, sorry, Christian, you're good, Christian. but you're not using Mentimeter, so we'll talk about this later. Aisha, can you, yes, okay. The confusion is that because I was setting it up for the room and now it's online, so I was sharing the wrong slide page, so I hope it works that well for you. So that's perfect. Let's take a quick look. Slow pace, clear communication, empathetic, engaging, patient, supportive, interactive, versatile. That's perfect. Clear communication. Yeah. Clear. Actually, all these descriptions are very important. I just want to check with if the person that wrote slow pace would like to elaborate about that. This would be a very important to me as an educator. So how do you, if this question is, even you can even answer in the chat. We have also Christian responded, interactive engagement with students, which is, of course, it's written here as well. Interaction is very, very important. I agree with you. So who wrote slow pace? Do you like to elaborate? Okay, so if you don't like to elaborate, I don't want to put you under pressure, but
yeah, I can. Sorry, I'm just walking right now, so excuse the
no
wind.
worries, Jawaz. Go ahead.
But yeah,
What do you want to
like,
say? Yeah.
Can you hear me first of all? Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you. It's very low, but
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just walking by a bypass here. But slow
I
pace,
think it's
I meant
not you.
like,
Okay, just to disclose this. This is the first time to use this room to teach. I have my own room in the center, so that's why I would have got it in the center. If you're coming on the, I think 18th or the 12th of October, the 16th of October, it will be in our CTL room. The system there, I'm aware with and I'm acquainted to use it. I've used it multiple times, so. I'm sorry if there's any technology issues here, but so it's not you, basically. Do you like to repeat?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just need thumbs. I can hear you. Thumbs of show of thumbs if the other people in the Zoom can hear you.
Yeah, I mean, what I was trying to get at is slow pace as in not be too hurried. It should be patient, right? People should be patient when they're teaching others. And it should be not time-based. It should be more so on your students' understanding and proceed accordingly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes good sense actually, but I think slow is not the correct word for that, because you said something very important as far as I heard, is that it meets the student pace, right? You mentioned something along this line. So actually slow as a word itself, it shows that we have to go slow. But actually, sometimes you actually can go slow. You need to be slow. Some other times you have to accelerate a little bit. This changing your pace in teaching allows students to be engaged, because otherwise they will feel that they are not, especially because you have different levels of students in your class. Which we call differentiated learning. So sometimes you have students with need slower pace, some students need faster pace. So if you go with the slow pace only, this means that you are meeting the needs of only those students, whereas the one you're going to lose the ones with higher with faster pace, and this is what we always fear of. So there's always ways to handle this situation. It's differentiated learning or differentiated teaching. So sometimes you start looking into, okay, I think for this topic, I can go a little bit slower because it's a new topic. And I can, for those who are we have different levels of expertise and knowledge in the class. So maybe you give the ones with slower, less activities to do in class or less practices, whereas the the ones on the higher end, you can give them more tasks and activities to do in class. Of course, I'm talking in general teaching. Of course, it differs from discipline to another, but it's very important to sometimes you have to be slow. I agree. I don't know what's happening, but no problem. But there's a voice here, a sound here. I think we're good. So I'm gonna go to the following question because I have another question. Who knows what is teaching philosophy? Do you know what is teaching philosophy? I believe the hurricane in Nova Scotia is coming to us. I think so. Okay, 2 out of 8. Aisha, yes, Aisha, do you have a question?
Actually, I don't have a question. I just want to answer that I do know about the teaching philosophy.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. What do you know about teaching philosophy, Aisha?
So whenever we talk about teaching philosophy, we are referring to what we actually our objective is as an instructor. So what exactly we want to deliver to our students and what are the techniques and methodologies we use in order to deliver our lectures. It's not only about that we have to make sure if I'm teaching chemistry or I'm teaching any of the introductory courses, it's my main objective is not only to teach the subject itself, also to make sure that how I can support the students who comes from the different backgrounds, and also how we can make them more interactive session rather than me just standing in front of 100 students or maybe 20 students, how I can make it more interactive and how I can make sure that how I can support their learning. So I believe that's what a teaching philosophy, and everyone may have different approaches. It's always depend on instructor to instructor and which subjects they teaches.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I assume that you on everybody on Zoom can hear what Aisha said. And yes, Aisha, it's teaching philosophy is the first of all, it's a living document, and if you are planning to have a position or a career in academia or in teaching, teaching philosophy is a very important piece of your application and your package, because teaching philosophy represents your commitment to your students, and how you want to pursue your teaching student student relationship that you will have with them. And actually, I usually sometimes I say instructor, but I prefer the word teacher, because from my perspective, even faculty members are teachers, because actually this is of course research comes in and everything plays a huge role, but teaching is what us as TAs or faculty members or teacher, what we give to the following generations. This is how we help the following generations grow. So it's always a teacher to me. So when I say teacher, don't worry, I mean also TAs or faculty members. So yeah, I have 5 people. I'm so happy with that, because I will be providing in the Center for Teaching and Learning a teaching philosophy workshop, and I would highly recommend, because start your teaching philosophy while you're TAing, and this would, because as I mentioned, it's a living document, and as we proceed in your career, you're going to change it, and every time you change it, you're going to change it because of your experience, which is going to be representing only you. It's not AI written, it's not somebody wrote it to you, it's what you actually felt and what you actually practice, and how you want to change it. And there's in this workshop, we're going to present some samples, of course, and walk you through some of the stuff, and it's sort of workshop thing. So you're gonna we're going to talk about it later, but this is a good opportunity to know that you and thank you for letting me know that. So okay, so because you don't know, but I think because you haven't, 5 of the 8 do not know. Those who know, the other 3, I'm not sure. Aisha knows definitely. She spoke eloquently about the teaching philosophy. So I'm going to skip this question. Now, this is anonymous, so don't worry who will do what, or who will know what. But how do you assess yourself on these different aspects of teaching? So I'm confident in my instructional abilities. I'm competent in my abilities to use academic technologies. I'm comfortable to seek help or resource for teaching related issues. All this, if you can, assess yourself or evaluate yourself and put how do you feel about these points, this would be perfect. So it goes from I don't agree to I strongly agree. Mhm. Actually, I'm happy. These are very good results. And whoever answered that about the competency in their abilities to use academic technologies, I highly recommend that you attend either the session, if you're already enrolled in the session, the mandatory session of GTEC. This is great. If not, I welcome you to get involved in, or enroll in the one in the 16th. We're gonna run it because actually in our GTEC workshop we have we're talking about technology in the classroom. So this would be very helpful for you. And we might have more workshops with the IS in the future that show how to use technology in the class. But thank you very much for highlighting this to me as well. And one of the things that I really respect and like that a good number of you are 5. So the 5 of you, I think maybe most of you say that as a TA, I have an important role in undergraduate student success and development. And this is a very important point and very important piece of your responsibility and your feelings as a TA that you are important in the learning process. You are, as TAs, we are very, very important because we are the bridge, and we're going to elaborate about that in a minute. So now, this may be what type of support do you think we will be needing? And I hope that you can write a couple of things because I don't want to take much time. I think we're already late. So maybe I'll skip a couple of them. I just want to make sure. Yes, this would be important. All the questions are important, but this is something else that I would like to see. How do you feel about it? So rank the instruction challenges that you believe a teaching assistant might face. Classroom management, time management, balancing TA tasks with graduate studies, lack of resource and support, Gen AI and academic integrity. And I have one more slide after that, and this is will be for the Mentimeter. Okay, are you still with me?
It just takes a second to be able to use the tool.
Okay, thank you.
How to use Menti?
Val, yes, you were saying something about Menti, Val. Can you say it again?
You're asking us to be able to utilize a tool faster than it is able to be used.
Yes.
So
Yes,
just
and this
give
is
us
the glitch in
patience.
technology.
Move at a
Yes.
slower pace.
Yeah, I agree with you. But you know what, Val, you're gonna be it's not only Mentimeter. There's a lot of tools like that that you would use. Oh, that's good. That you would use and you're supposed to be using because it helps students interact with you. But unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work the way that you expect or that the students expect. So I'm sorry if there's any disappointments, and most probably it's the weather today. I'm lucky that we were able to connect. Okay, so I'm going to give you 1 second. Classroom management, balancing TA tasks with graduate studies. Any other? Okay. So I think we have 5 active here with us. Okay, perfect. So it seems that the classroom management is okay. 6, thank you. People are is the highest challenge that you think is. And of course, this is something that I agree with, especially at the beginning of your career as a TA, if you're been a short period, that your experience is not that long, but it's always, it's your call, and it's important for you to set your style of managing the class from the very beginning, so students will come along with you. This is regarding what we have here is mostly, you know, hardware, if we say, but this is the teaching stuff. So again, this is another part of this of the slide. It was too busy when I have them all together, but also this is important to us, so to understand what you actually are you challenged in teaching? Are you worried, especially if you don't have much experience, or using GenAI from your students, grading, discipline knowledge, especially that I know that not everybody would be teaching their discipline. Sometimes you teach other topics in other fields.
Discipline knowledge meaning academic correctness or scope of awareness of the topic?
The topics, because sometimes you're going to find yourself somebody in mathematics teaching or an engineer teaching mathematics, so they are always worried, is my mathematics lab? That this is an example on top of my head. Of course, it's not an something from reality, but maybe they I know that I know mathematics, my math very well, but am I up to the challenge to teach in mathematics department, for example? It's disciplinary knowledge. Maybe it's not discipline knowledge, disciplinary. We're going to discuss providing feedback in the GTEC. So and grading. We're going to talk about grading as well. And grading is a very if you are a grading TA, I assume that you will okay, how I'm going to do it right. So this is something that we can we're going to present also in the GTEC, or talk about in the GTEC. Okay, so actually, I'm going to ask Wendy and Emily to post these on with the presentation on the recording. I don't know what which one they're going to put, but I'm going to put these results there too, so that you can see the responses of the group, because this will be something that we think about. It will keep you thinking about teaching and learning, and maybe it will be something it will be important for you to use when to think about and encourage you to come to GTEC. So I'm trying to go here to open my slides. What can you see now? Learning outcomes? Okay, okay. So you see the presenter or the two screens, one screen or two screens? Because this is too confusing to me, to be honest. I don't know which is. Getting to know the system is part of the, and that's one. This is a very good example. I use we have this system in our room. It's we did it a couple of years ago, and we're working with it, so I'm used to it and I can handle it easily, because this is a new room. So if you don't know the room you're teaching in, one, okay, one, perfect. Oh, thank you. Thank you for Aina. So if you don't know if you are not acquainted with the room, I highly recommend, and I usually tell that to the faculty, but unfortunately, this is a very busy time for the year, as you know. So I highly recommend that when you're teaching in a certain room, try to make sure that you try it a couple of times. I came yesterday and I tried it actually while you were in there in the nacho thing, but I don't know what happened. The system collapsed on me. Okay, so for learning outcomes, as I mentioned, I don't care how far we cover in this presentation. I care, of course, but I mean, what is important to me is that you see what we're doing. I started by Mentimeter. Of course, it was too long because of the glitches in the technology, but usually you need to know your students, you need to know their prior knowledge, and this is part of it. So now I know that exactly, and when I go back review my Mentimeter results, I'm gonna see, okay, teaching philosophy is a big thing. And we're gonna talk about something, hopefully reach it, but this is how you get acquainted with your students. And you, even if it's long as that, but you're gonna be teaching your students for a whole year or a whole term. So it's okay. But now, because it's a short period, but I regard this as an introductory to the GTEC or something that would lead to the GTEC. So this is something that would be still useful to know. So now, what are the learning outcomes? So by the end of this workshop, I hope you will be able to acknowledge your responsibilities as a graduate student, position yourself as a reflective educator, and this is very important. Develop your, everything is important, but reflective educator, it helps you shape your teaching philosophy, what we're going to talk about in a few minutes. Develop your teaching dossier. If you're planning to have a tenure track, work in academia, in teaching, in even in a training, teaching dossier is a must. So if you don't have a teaching dossier and you're applying for a teacher, even in a training in big institutions and or entities, without a teaching dossier, it will be frowned upon, because teaching dossier is important. Identify some active learning strategies, explore some strategies to handle challenging students. If I ask you, which one do you prefer that we focus on from these? Is there anything that you are interested in specifically, given the limited time? You can
do the dossier?
Teaching dossier? Okay. Anything else? Because teaching dossier will take about 10 minutes or 5 minutes even. Anything else? Okay, so I'll jump into this. The other parts I'm not gonna talk, and I'm gonna move forward with a pace that I can reach teaching dossier in an appropriate time. So what is the graduate teaching assistant's responsibilities? Actually, you are, as TAs in an academic institution or in universities or post-secondary in general, your role is very important, because undergrad students feel that you are closer to them from faculty members, because they feel that, okay, that you can help them, you know how they feel. And I saw empathy and the compassion in the results that you gave me earlier. So this is something, these skills or these attributes would be very important. So supporting faculty instruction, of course, this is something. And you remember always that the course is the instructor owns, or the professor owns the course. So anything that you need to do, you want to make sure that they approve it. Enhancing student learning, that's goes without saying. Providing constructive feedback. If you are teaching, teaching TA, tutorials and courses, or grading, both constructive feedback is important, because you are either giving the feedback either verbally or written, or even recorded. Sometimes now we start to, I recommend that, because writing sometimes take a lot of time. So I recommend for faculty and TAs, you can provide feedback using recording tool in UR Square. UR courses. I have a program called UR Square. Academic mentorship. Usually, as TA students, undergrad students look up to you and say, or think that you are, you know everything. And you are, especially students who are interested in your field and they want to get into academia, they regard you as their mentor, not only their academic mentor, not only just the person that teach them something. So this is a huge role. Bridging instruction and support. This is something, again, very important, because you are teaching them, but sometimes in your office hours, and sometimes even off-class support that you can provide in the content of the course, of course. And this is something that important. Again, as I mentioned, you are bridging. You are not the professor, but and so you are the middleman in this process, and students feel comfortable talking to you. Research integration, of course. In the capacity of a TA, a lot of TAs are interested in pursuing their career in teaching and learning in academia. So they always reach out to ask us a question about stuff that they would like to do. And in this case, they look into sometimes research and literature and say, okay, I saw somebody doing this. Do you think this is doable? Do you think that? And they discuss it with us in the center. And usually after they, either when they reach a decision, they go back to the faculty member or the course instructor and tell them, okay, we want to do this. And one of the things that also is important, that usually I've seen those people in a couple of years become teaching fellows. So during their PhD, if they're masters moving to a PhD, they become teaching fellows. And sometimes they pursue these interventions in their teaching. Fostering inclusive classrooms. And this is something, inclusive classrooms, I don't know how many of you know the word inclusion in class, but this is really very important because we need to make sure that all students in the class are included and they are heard, and they know that. It's not only that, they feel that. So this is very important for students for you as a TA to be inclusive in your class. Upholding professional standards, as I mentioned earlier, as academic mentor, students look at you at, okay, this is my TA is not doing this and that's one of the things I would follow him. For example, some of the things, if you're using Gen AI in something and presenting it, tell them I used Gen AI to create this slide because I like the way it gives me this real thing. So this is very important. And make sure that what is the policy for the course using Gen AI, but also make sure that if you ever use it to tell your students in something like this, to tell them that, okay, I use Gen AI to create this. I know the content myself, but I like the visuals that it provides. Continuous development. Again, it's one of the responsibilities as a TA to keep develop yourself and develop your teaching and develop your research. Of course, I'm talking here more about teaching and learning, but it's your responsibility to be always look into what's happening in the world in this teaching, your discipline and other disciplines, to make sure that you are on top of your game. So the reflective indicator, quickly, it's basically when you're teaching in class, you need to make sure that you reflect on what you're doing. And there are two ways, because I want to reach the teaching dossier. There are two ways of reflection. The first one is reflection in action. So what we call thinking on your feet. So if you're in class, you felt that the class, you lost them. They didn't get what you're talking about. If you taught before, you're gonna know what to do. And I'm gonna tell you now, even if it doesn't have to be a long period of time. When you see the eyes of your students, especially when you're class top, of course now I can't see any of you, so this is a problem. But at least the Mentimeter give me a sense who is responding and who is with me and who is not. So if you are in class and this happens, and you see in their eyes, okay, they do not know what I'm talking about, I lost them. Usually, what happens, you start on your feet thinking of how else can I say the same, paraphrase what I said, maybe explain it in a different way, talk about it in a different way to capture the attention so that it can reach the point I'm talking about. This we call in action. On action, and this is a reflection that happens after the fact. So after you leave the class or after you leave your teaching session, it's very important for you to sit a bit and say, okay, what did it? I know you're busy, I know that, but it doesn't have to be. You can do it while you're waiting for the bus. You're waiting to warm your car. You're waiting for a friend, even something that you think, what went well and why, and what went bad and why. So I reflected today when I said I didn't practice enough in the room, and this is my mistake. That's not the wrong thing. That's what I'm thinking now. I'm not gonna ever do this again. I'll try always to make sure that the room, I not only spend half an hour or an hour, I have to try the whole thing in. This is something I learned from this session. And also sometimes we ask people to talk about this, and this is something that you can discuss over coffee with other TAs. So this is, of course, there are 4 lengths. Brookfield, we are researchers, so we usually look for literature. So Brookfield, 1995, he came up with 4 lengths. It's autobiographical, so you write your own reflection. You ask students feedback, which is very important, and I highly recommend start collecting student feedback from day 1. so that you know, you make sure that you have. And one of the beauty of collecting feedback from students from the first day, first time you teach, is that when you apply for a position and you have this feedback, lousy feedback from your first term, hopefully not, but if this happens, okay, and then after a year or two, you have another one with students saying, oh, good thing. So when you put this in your teaching dossier, and apply for a position, they're gonna see you went from this to this. So it shows, it doesn't speak to that, okay, this person was not a very good TA at the beginning. No, it will highlight the path you took to move from this feedback, which is you didn't like or was not as you expect, to this amazing one. So this path, what brings the people's attention, oh, what did they do to change the feedback that much? Colleagues or peers, and this is something, it might be formal. And by the way, I do, the CTL provide the observation service. So if you, of course, as TA, I don't think you would be interested, but I've observed teaching fellows who were in the sessions in 2021, and now they are teaching fellows. They finished their master's and doing their PhD, and I go to their classes and provide them feedback. So if ever you are in this situation, please talk to us, and it's our pleasure. And also theory and research. So if you have a problem in class and you feel that, okay, how does this happen? You can go to research. And of course, now with Gen AI, it's even better, because you can just put the problem, what you're asking about, and boom, it will give you what is published in this field. So this is again saving more time. Now I'm gonna jump into teaching dossier. Teaching dossier is, as I mentioned, it's a very important piece of your application when you're applying to tenure track, even if you're applying for a research tenure track, because it summarizes your academic life, basically, like a biography, your biography. There's multiple components in it, and it shows, and each piece of it, and we have, of course, this is a little bit general, as I mentioned, because this is, I can't dig deeper into teaching dossier in 1 hour, not even with all the other stuff, but it is the document that says your story in teaching and learning. If you are applying for a teaching tenure track, it's even more important, as it provides you with, those the committee, the hiring committee, and the people in the interviews, because usually you give a public presentation, they give you, having this with you and talking about it. It doesn't have to be physical, of course, it can be online, and promoting it in your LinkedIn. People will see how important teaching is to you, and actually it doesn't take from your research capacity. And so this is something you need. You need to think about when you're applying it. So teaching is important because this is the major role for universities. We are teaching new generations. And of course, as you provide your teaching dossier, as I mentioned earlier, if you have the feedback from your first term to teach and your most recent term that you taught, and you compare the two feedbacks, actually it shows you what did you do, your teaching growth that allowed you to move from this side, from this end to this end. And also when you have this reflection piece, that's why I wanted to talk about the reflection, because when you are a reflective educator, you start writing not only the good things, but also the bad things, and that you noticed in your teaching, which is a very strong, and this is one of the strengths of very powerful teachers and strong teachers. So this allows you to write, to include all your achievements, strength for your self-assessment, and interpretations by others. So the observation that I mentioned earlier, the document that we provide the faculty members or the teaching fellows, this is one big piece of this report of the teaching dossier. Because basically I have faculty members in the institution that ask me to come in to observe them for more than maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the 2 or 3 terms, because sometimes they take sabbatical, so when they return, so it 3 or 4 times over 3 terms is a huge number. Of course, it's more work for me, but I'm happy that I would be able to be helped. So again, what is the value of teaching dossier? Supports reflection and growth of one's teaching, documents teaching effectiveness, has increasing importance regarding the tenure and promotion process. It's becoming more common in employment positions for academic positions and even in training institutions. So if you go to one of my colleagues in another institution went to power company or nuclear company because they need trainers. So one of the pieces that they have to include in this interview and one of the documents that they have to submit was their teaching dossier. Supplements the curricula vitae, of course, because the curricula vitae can't in 2 pages say everything. So what is the teaching dossier? What is the format? We have a narrative framework, which says it includes the teaching philosophy statement, a narrative description of teaching experiences, and critical reflection. So these are the main components that this is the first part of the teaching dossier. And usually people put amazing stuff in these sections, and people, oh, that's great, but it doesn't go without artifacts. So if you say that this is your teaching philosophy statement, that you are compassionate, how this happens. So you have to include how do you implement your empathy, how you implement your compassion with students. How do you do that? How are you say you're inclusive? How you are inclusive? Saying that you're inclusive is not enough. How this inclusiveness is implemented in your teaching and your teaching practices. For example, and one of the proofs that you might have, teaching students feedback. You can share students, you can add these students' comments in your document as a part. Student feedback and put it. Can be student feedback can be formal, informal, but at the end of the day, it's not anonymous, so it doesn't really it doesn't invade anybody's privacy. And I think, yes, as you see, the first component of teaching dossier is teaching philosophy. So I wanted to talk about teaching philosophy briefly. So it's a systematic and critical rationale that focuses on the important components of defining effective teaching and learning in a particular context or institution setting. So this is, of course, the formal thing. But as Aisha mentioned, and as I talked about, teaching philosophy is the document that presents you as a teacher, and the as good as your teaching philosophy, including how you implement these good words and fancy words, how you implement this. When you include this in your teaching philosophy, it's not just words, it's actions, because it shows that you actually are implementing what you implied that you are doing. I think, okay, we have 4 minutes left. Actually, I wanted to talk about something, other things, active learning. So I'm gonna just to raise your appetite for coming to us and talking how active learning works. And these are some people would say, does active learning work? Yes, it works, definitely. There are 2 publications that I can share with you. I think I have them some in reference or something, that it increased using active learning, one of the courses in STEM, increased the scores, improved by 6%. And the students to fail, to pass the course increased by 1.5. So the fail rate decreased. And again, another Prince 2004, he had a meta-analysis, and the results show that active learning courses taught enhance students' achievement and success, and of course, retention. Examples quickly, think, parent, share, all these things we're going to use in one of our, we usually use in workshops, but of course, because of the limitation of time, I think I did it. When you work online, of course, it's different from in person. You can use think, parent, share, that you ask the students a question, they think on their own at the beginning, then talk to their neighbor, and then share it with the whole class after they finish. Mud cards, it's very important, and mud cards also can be used as a feedback tool. If you like to have students at the end of what is the part that you hated, what the worst part of what you didn't understand in this session, and it's anonymous. Sometimes you can use technology, or you can use paper-based. It depends on your. But make it anonymous to get sincere stuff. Just-in-time teaching. So just-in-time teaching, something that you explain, students start working on stuff, and then you jump into, okay, there's a general point that students do not, a certain point that students do not get along very well with, don't understand. So you just go again and teach it accordingly. Exit tickets like mud cards and Matthias point. partial solution. Sometimes you can, as if you have a tutorial that has problems or questions, and it might be the answer is not, you don't provide the whole answer, you provide parts of it. And then when you talk to the students, you answer them, you add the parts that are missing as you go so that they can, you still make things a little bit easier for a reason. So have time, because if you go every statement by statement when you're working, this will take a lot of time that you don't have. Peer instruction, sometimes you ask students to explain things to each other. So this peer instruction, it's a very big field, and people it provides students, empowers students, because they feel that they have a responsibility, because they are explaining something to the students. But of course, it doesn't say, okay, teach each other. It doesn't work like that. There's regulations, and there's guidelines to how to do this effectively. Small group discussions, the bus groups, and I was planning to do this today at the end in the students, problematic students, but I didn't have time. Active review session, so maybe you ask them to review, you are required to review a section, so you prepare something that they don't just come and sit and listen to you while you're explaining something or writing on the board. This is not active, this is passive, and they just sit there. They will think, I would have studied at home better than doing this here. So there's when you review sessions, are very important to engage students. Concept test. So this concept test, actually, it's very popular in some provinces, but not that very popular, because they have tests that measures different concepts, and this is maybe different institutions share it together so that they can use the same thing from I think British Columbia use it a lot. Okay, so this gets us to active learning, the end of active learning, and it's the end of the hour. If you have any questions, be my guest, and I'll be here until you all leave. But if you don't have questions, I again say thank you for being here today, and I'm very, very sorry that I wasn't able to finish all the only thing that was left, handling challenging situations. And actually it's fun because it has real scenarios. So maybe I'm going to do something, a session for that differently. Thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today, and I highly recommend that you show up in the GTEC either the 8th or the 16th, because both of them are very they will equip you with some skills. Of course, 3 hours are not enough for all this, what we're talking about, but at least you know where to go to ask. And for the grading, I have a very exciting grading exercise that we do, and it always engages students. So thank you very much, and I hope, thank you, Aina, and